I had this dream I was back on TV. If I'd been back on the news, that would qualify as a nightmare. But this was different. I mean, really different. This was a show made up of stories that you wouldn't see on the news. Some were pet projects, some's just informative. But all of them told a story about people. And you can join us on Rick Dancer TV, twice a month, Sunday nights at 4:30 on KEVU, that's channel 23. I hope I never wake up. 55 beneath the city, just revitalized. Started riding with ride. One of the things I love about Oregon is our love for good beer and great coffee. As I sit here at Full City in Eugene, drinking my snotty little cappuccino with soy, remember, I live in Western Oregon, so soy is kind of a way of life. I'm reminded that most good ideas follow a good beer or a double shot of caffeine. The idea for this show magically came to us after drinking a cappuccino at this very coffee shop right outside that window. I'm not the most mechanically inclined guy. I mean, I know that the engine is under the hood, and I know how to wash my car, and I know that this is a Phillips screwdriver. But overall, that's about it. I don't know much about cars, and yet I need to save money like you do when it comes to working on my car. So what am I supposed to do? Well, I have this friend named Phil. He owns Sheppard Motors in Eugene. You know, they sell Volkswagens, Volvos, and Hyundais. The other day, my friend Phil and I were at Full City having coffee. You know, Full City, that's the place I always tell you about where I go have coffee. So Phil says to me, you know, Rick, my mechanic could show you and your over 6,000 Facebook friends how to take care of your vehicles. You know, I do have more than 6,000 friends on Facebook. That's a huge deal. More than 6,000 close, intimate friendships on Facebook. Huh. Just think what you could do with that idea. So Phil's mechanic, Brandon, his expertise, you, me, wow, I think we're onto something. So there you have it. That's how this whole Rick Dancer TV thing started. One of the things I really love about this business is all the people you get to meet, and you find out about businesses that you never knew existed. That happened for us up in Lebanon. A guy named Rick Franklin has a company that owns a railroad. They also build railroads. I didn't know people still built railroads. And they tear them up. But here's what the story's all about. What do they do with those railroad ties? They recycle them. Watch. Nobody in Oregon wants to see creosote-soaked railroad ties end up in a landfill buried in our state. The Rick Franklin Corporation out of Lebanon, Oregon is doing something about that. So they bring all these railroad ties here to this spot in Lebanon. They grind them up in these two different machines. Then they're made into hog fuel, where these cats load them into these trucks. They're then taken to Newburgh, where they're going to power a plant. I got an idea. Why don't you come along with us and we'll show you how this works in detail.
Well, these ties are waste ties, debris that we've pulled out of the railroad. They're no longer usable.
There aren't a lot of options for old, used, retired railroad ties.
The reason we opt for this versus the landfill is because it's a final disposal, it's environmentally safe, it's environmentally clean, and we feel it's the right thing to do.
The right thing starts by hauling the old ties to the Rick Franklin Corporation in Lebanon, Oregon.
We pick the tie initially and we feed it into this green machine behind us here. This is called the Crambo. The Crambo is actually a low RPM shredder. It only operates at 25 RPM. And so instead of grinding, doing a high-speed grinding of the wood, it actually just has some fingers on there, essentially pull it apart and shred it.
The Crambo is amazing. It shreds those 8-foot-plus ties into 12-inch material. What happens to all the metal spikes and steel straps that are stuck in the wood?
Also a part of that is it has an electromagnet on board that will help pull some of that steel and separate that steel.
Lots of steel ends up in the bins and barrels surrounding the plant.
The next piece of equipment in the line is this Peterson grinder. Now the grinder is a high-speed grinder.
Those 12-inch pieces of wood end up here in this machine, and there's no messing around.
And it comes out of the grinder as this fine material you'll see off here to the left. And that's the ultimate hog fuel.
It costs more to process railroad ties like this than it would to just leave them in a pile or bury them.
Creosote's a petroleum-based product. Wherever you bury it, it's going to be there for a long time to come. The people that have been around railroads have seen ties piled up for 100 years, and so it just makes you feel good to go through, clean it up, get rid of that material, and then know that it's been handled in a safe, responsible fashion.
The end product, what they call hog fuel, but it has one more stop.
This particular fuel is going to SP Newsprint and Newburgh, and that'll be used as energy to power their plant. One of the side benefits of the creosote is that it actually has a 20% higher BTU rating than regular green waste, regular untreated wood.
So what was waste becomes of value and provides much needed energy.
One, we're getting final disposition of this material in an environmentally responsible fashion, and two, there's an added benefit to the mill because it's got the increased BTU rating, so increased energy yield.
Sure, takes more time and a bit more money to recycle railroad ties this way, but again, the Rick Franklin Corporation feels it's worth it because it's the right thing to do. We did this whole do-it-yourself series for Sheppard Motors. Oh, hang on just a second here. Oh, thanks, Julie. We even took a ride with the mechanic to find out what to look for when you're buying a used car. We got a lot of tips from the mechanic. I even saved some money.
Rick, there's a lot of things you can do in order to keep your car maintained and up to date. One of the most vital components of your engine is the oil itself. And this is what lubricates all those moving parts inside of there. And it's real simple to check. You just pull that dipstick out and usually just give it a quick wipe. And then we're going to go ahead and stick it right back in there to make sure that we're getting an accurate reading. And make sure you push it all the way down and pull it all the way back up. And we're going to look. And we can see we're right in between those X's there.
So I asked Brandon if it matters what kind of oil I put in my engine. Brandon says it does matter. It's kind of like when you go on a bike ride. What's going to be better to replenish your body fluids when you're finished? You going to drink a pop or are you going to drink a sports drink?
So changing your own air filter, very simple. If you can work a screwdriver, you can change your own air filter. So in this case, we've got two screws right here on top of the air box. We just loosen those up and we're going to slide this out. And you can see, there's your air filter.
You're kidding me.
And all you have to do is just press that out. We'll grab another one, slip it right back in there. And you're done.
So how much did you just save me?
You probably saved you about $35.
So I took Brandon's advice. Saved myself about $50. I went out and bought a new air filter. He was wrong about one thing. He said I had 2 screws to loosen. I found out I actually have 4 loose screws. You know what I mean. But it was really simple. It only took a couple of seconds. And voila, I'm done. So Brandon, don't tell Phil that I'm looking for a used car. So can you go with me and we'll just take one out and tell me what I need to know so when I go out with the salesman, I'll know what to ask?
Let's head out back, Rick. I'll show you what you need to know.
If you want to see the other stories we did on do-it-yourself, you can go to shepherdmotors.com or our website, rickdancer.com. Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit here. Over the years I worked in television news. I did a lot of stories on domestic violence. But over the years, I guess we all kind of think that things got taken care of, that the solutions have been found. Last year I spent a lot of time with Womenspace and discovered that's not true. It's a bigger problem than ever before. We ended up with some survivors of domestic violence, and as you're about to see, they will tell you the story that will really impact your life. Now I want to warn you, there's some language in here that might be a little rough for small children, but for the rest of us, I think you need to see this.
Hi, this is Michelle. Hi, Michelle. A friend gave me this number and said that I needed to call Womenspace.
This is Womenspace.
Good. I don't know what to do. My kids and I have...
I was so scared to get help because of what people thought.
I was afraid nobody can believe me.
I'm really scared and I don't know if this is the right place to call. I just don't have anywhere else to go.
The silence is what keeps victims trapped and perpetrators in control.
There has been a huge increase in domestic violence murders.
Domestic violence is a crime that hides behind the batterer's manipulation, coercion, and threats.
You are so stupid!
He told me that names, bitch. The most terrible words. Stupid Mexican wetback. Who's gonna believe you?
Nobody's gonna believe you!
We question the victims and fail to hold the abusers accountable.
I was so scared that they were gonna think it was me, judge me, and not really look at the abuser.
The power of domestic violence hides behind silence.
He stopped the car and he grabbed my hair and swept the floor with my body. And he told he's gonna kill me there. And he's gonna bury my body in there and nobody can find me.
Josefina Perez remembers the moment her silence shattered.
Womenspace helped me to go through getting back my life again.
I don't know what to do. My kids and I have been, last night we didn't have any place to go, and I don't know what to do. I can't go back home.
The 24-hour crisis line at Womenspace is the first step for many survivors of intimate partner violence.
At this point, would you like to come in and meet with an advocate to discuss options for shelter and safety plans?
Can I come today before my other kids get out of school?
An advocate isn't someone who says you need to do this, you should do this, I want you to do this. What an advocate does is kind of sit with you and encourage you to make those decisions.
She doesn't judge me, she helps me, and she doesn't tell me my feelings are wrong, she guides them. For me, coming here was the start of my way out.
Sunshine's story is complicated and terrifying. Her husband is serving 42 years in prison for what he did to her.
He busted my back in 3 different spots, and I had a 2-inch bone stuck in my sciatic nerve. He had also fractured my skull, and he broke my face. He broke the bones in my hands where I had to have metal pins drilled inside of them.
Womenspace helps Sunshine, Josefina, and women like them put their lives back together.
I'm not afraid to tell other women that if they come here, that they're gonna find help and that they're really gonna be able to start living a life in a different way that they've ever lived.
They saw in me maybe I'm strong and I need some help to get through again.
It's very emotional for me, and change doesn't happen as fast as I would like it to.
As a community, instead of asking why victims stay or go back, we need to ask why abusers abuse. Sunshine is permanently disabled as a result of her batterer's torture and abuse, and she has 3 young children to raise.
I can't say it's gonna be easy, but I can say your worst day on this side of the road is 100 times better than your worst day on the other side of the road.
When we blame, we keep victims from coming forward. Womenspace understands.
If we just opened our arms to survivors and made the system hold batterers accountable, that we could get rid of all of that judgment. More people would come forward and ask for help because it wouldn't be a bad thing to have to ask for help.
I have a voice in that people care and that I'm deserving of not being hit and not being belittled is probably one of the biggest gifts I've ever had. Just being unconditionally loved, and I get that here.
Nobody can be quiet what's going on or what's happened. Doesn't matter what. You have to talk, and you have to say no to the violence. No more.
I don't know if this is the right place to call. I just don't have anywhere else to go.
You made the right call.
If you just watched that video and you would like to talk to somebody, Womenspace has a 24-hour hotline number that you can call. It's right there on your screen. There's also a toll-free number. Womenspace has been around for 35 years, and they're having a black and white gala celebration this month. To find out more about that, just go to their website that's right here on your screen. A couple of years ago when I was working at KEZI, a young woman came into my life that changed everything. She wrote me an email at KEZI, said, "Rick, I want to come on the water cooler and tell you what it's like to live with Down syndrome." She came on the show, and it was magic. She changed everything. Then she helped us come up with a campaign called Look Me in the Eye. We're going to show you the commercial that's been running on local television.
Look me in the eye.
Look me in the eye.
Don't treat me as if I'm a broken person, I'm no good. Then throw me away in the gutter, because then that makes me feel bad.
Look me in the eye.
Look me in the eye.
I want them to treat me as for who I am and the things that I can accomplish in life.
Look me in the eye.
Look me in the eye.
Give me a chance.
Look me in the eye.
Look me in the eye.
Look me in my eye.
Just straight in the eye, like this. Eye to eye.
Look me in the eye.
People matter. They want to be acknowledged. Look me in the eye. Oregon is one of the only states in the country that's closed all of its institutions for the developmentally disabled. That's a good thing. We've decided as a state that these wonderful people belong in our community with us. Take a look at this video and see why. We are told not to stare.
All they see is just my face.
We look away because we don't know what else to do.
They just see my face, they can tell.
We make assumptions that can make Emilia Abel and others like her feel unimportant, forgotten, even invisible.
I do matter. Gentle, gentle. Good job. It's awesome. No, I've been here for almost 4 years now. See that? Want to try that?
Emilia Abel works at the Sheldon daycare.
I've been working with 2 to 5-year-old kids. No, they really don't understand that they think that I'm just a regular person.
Emilia is a person with abilities and strengths.
Being here for the last couple of years now here, many parents are just admiring me and how good with their kids. Vincent, strip on the...
Full Access assists Emilia by teaching her to cook, to shop, and to manage her money. With the agency's help, Emilia can live on her own, get from place to place by herself.
I will, thanks.
And she recently became a member of the Downtown Eugene Lions Club. But to understand Emilia and all she's capable of, you must first look her in the eye.
I have it on good authority that Lion Emilia is very, very good about talking about the lions.
At 22, Emilia understands she has a place. She speaks out on behalf of Look Me in the Eye and the rights of all people, including people with disabilities.
I'm a normal girl, basically. I'm a normal girl like other girl or women out there. Just want to have the same freedom for everyone.
My friend Marilyn, wonderful person. I love her. She's very happy. She's very smart. She wants to learn everything. She wants to go and be a part of everything. And she wants to go with these people every day. Go and see and learn and be a part of the world outside of a wonderful sheltered home that she lived in.
Marilyn moved into the Oregon Supported Living Program home a few years ago at the age of 61.
Marilyn stayed home with Mom and Dad for most of your life.
Marilyn worked at LCC for 37 years.
She didn't know if she would have a life. She'd have a life when Mom and Dad died. Now she knows she has a life here, and that's really exciting.
People with disabilities are oftentimes overlooked or marginalized.
If you don't look them in the eye, you can't communicate. Communication is a part of looking at somebody and getting to know who that person is, and everybody deserves that.
Do you matter, Marilyn? You matter.
Marilyn important. Marilyn important. And Marilyn has a lot to give and to teach people.
People are important. People do matter. Productivity is measured not in what you get done, but in how you do it.
Everybody's important. She's a part of our community.
Including Emilia, Marilyn, and others like them in our community is so important for them and for us.
If you ask her staff, they will tell you they're learning from Marilyn. Marilyn's the teacher.
I think it's important just to give out the message to people, kids, parents, just to know that everyone has their own unique ways. But that does not mean they're different. It means that this is the way that who they are.
Oregon Supported Living Program and Full Access are the two agencies behind Look Me in the Eye. These two agencies provide services to people with disabilities so that they can live in our community. If you'd like to find out more about either agency or Look Me in the Eye, just go to their websites. They're right here on your screen. Good coffee, good wine, good beer. We like that in Oregon. We're very snobby about what we drink, and we like microbrews, and we like wine that's under $11.99 a bottle. and I love my coffee. One of the places I like to go is Full City. Everybody knows that. It's like my second home. One of the things I really like about this place is Michael Finney, the owner. How he gets his coffee and what he does to get that coffee so that it's good helps a lot of people, not just in this country, but in other countries. Take a look at this video. Each morning, Michael Finney awakens to the smell of roasted coffee beans. His roasted coffee beans. Michael is the owner and roaster of Full City Coffee Roasters in Eugene, Oregon.
I get most of my coffee from Guatemala, Colombia, and Sumatra. Those are the biggest coffees. I get Ethiopians and Perus and Salvadors also.
He learned the art of roasting great coffee 30 years ago while working for a place called the Coffee Corner in Eugene. In 1990, Finney went out on his own and started Full City Coffee Roasters.
I technically don't need to go to Central or South America or Africa to buy good coffee. But I do need to go there to form relationships with farmers and get good coffee.
Over the years, Michael has learned a lot about what makes a great coffee bean and the work that goes into growing and mixing the best product. That need for great beans takes him all over the world.
The primary benefit of the relationship with the farmers is that I can find coffees that are special, but then I can also contribute to my farmers' community, both directly to the community and, of course, directly to the farmers, by doing things like being able to loan them money to do capital projects that they don't have access to capital for, things like that, being able to pay them better prices for their good coffee than they would normally get in their local market.
Finney teaches farmers better growing techniques, composting, and pruning. Time invested in farmers improves the product and the communities where he buys his beans. From the farm to the roaster, to the bag, and finally the highly trained barista staff. Full City is more than great coffee. It's a way of life. It's a sense of place. It's investing in people from the plant to the cafe.
It makes me feel good. And I like coffee. I need good coffee. I need good coffee for myself and my customer.
Michael Finney is quietly impacting the lives of people, one cup at a time. So I used to drink Americanos because I thought lattes were kind of sissy drinks. Then I started drinking lattes because I thought cappuccinos were kind of sissy drinks. Then I started drinking cappuccinos because I realized it's all about the caffeine and why waste it on a bunch of soy or milk. That's just the way we do it in Eugene. Before we go tonight, we want to be sure and thank the Sunset Hills Cemetery. They let us use their bicycle-pulled hearse for our original promo, and we want to say thank you to them. Only in Eugene would you ever find one of those. Next month, we got a real treat for you. We're taking you to Alaska. We spent 8 days up there last summer putting together a special for a lodge up there, the Redoubt Mountain Lodge. While we were up there in a boat shooting the video, we had one of those moments that just scares the bejeebers out of you. Take a look.
It was just pulling the boat gently down this very narrow river.
Very tight quarters with a lot of salmon.
And there was one in the distance, and it was a pool full of fish, so he was having a lovely time catching fish.
He was just doing his thing, so went up a little bit.
Quite close. I mean, I suppose 100 yards away. He was catching fish and, you know, lots of lovely photos to take. I mean, it's so easy. And then he caught sight of us.
Could definitely see that he wasn't looking at a fish, he was looking at us.
And he started walking slowly towards us, and that's fine. I'm still clicking away, because somehow you feel safe behind the camera, you know. So I'm clicking away.
So he started backing up, and he just gave us a little run, just to assert the fact that he was in charge of this area.
I think it's coming closer. But it was a false charge, so it stopped, so it's fine. But the photos I've got are just extraordinary.
We'll be airing the Alaska special on March 4th and March 18th at 4:30 on KEVU, and we'll have something a little special from Mazama Sporting Goods as well in that show. Now tonight we want to leave with this. Over the years, I think I've interviewed thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of them have touched me in very personal ways, but none as much as this man you're about to meet. He changed the way I think about so many things. We went back and we found Jimmy Reynolds. Take a look. A few years ago, while interviewing a man named Jimmy Reynolds, my view of life, God, and other people was changed by one thought. Jimmy has elephantiasis. I asked him, "What do you see when you look in the mirror?" Jimmy said something that rocked my world.
I was made in God's image, so therefore I must look like God.
Yes, Jimmy said he was created in the image of God. Therefore, God must look like him. I was floored. What if Jimmy is right? What if God doesn't look like all the paintings or the Hollywood stars or even George Burns, for goodness sake? What if God looks more like Jimmy Reynolds? You have to admit, that changes everything.
Imagine that.
It really does make you wonder. I love that guy. Well, until next week, keep those good ideas percolating.